Hey everybody, welcome back. Caleb here. Thanks for joining me again. Today I want to talk about the patch knife and what it is. I've been watching a lot of period dramas lately, and I found a lot of inspiration and always have found a lot of inspiration in colonial times, in the knives and tools of colonial times, pre-Revolutionary War in the Americas and post. So I decided to create, inspired by a knife I saw on a character's belt in the Outlander series. James Fraser, he was carrying a patch knife. I decided to create my own iteration of that. So I've designed up my own little version of it, and I'm in the midst of creating it. That's what this video is going to be about. Now, the patch knife was what you would call a colonial EDC, something very common for muzzle loaders and stuff like that, to keep on their person or on their gear, around their neck or on their belt. Small knives that are useful in their daily tasks, fixing rope, but preparing game, preparing food, and just in general use EDC for the colonial times. Commonly referred to as a patch knife. So the patch knife that I designed is 8 1/4 inches overall, about a 4-inch blade. Real simple. I'm using Damasteel for mine because I'm a snob and I love it, and I've got some extra, so I'm going to make myself something nice. The patch knife is also something really commonly used in gralking a deer, which is gutting, skinning, field dressing, game, that kind of stuff. You know, anything you might think of that you need a knife for, a smaller bladed knife on the frontier, this would be it. Personally, I've always found a lot of inspiration from 17th and 18th century colonial times in the Americas for blades, because there was a lot of indentured Scots and Irish in the Americas at the time. After the Jacobite Wars and stuff like that, there was a lot of Scots that were indentured or press ganged and sent over here to basically form penal colonies on the frontier. And so that time frame of knives, when you're transitioning from the old world style like dirks and swords and stuff like that, transitioning into the new frontier style of knife carry and knife style and type. You know, the swords are being phased out, daggers and dirks and sabers were kind of being phased out in favor of musket. That was the more common weapon of the day, but you find yourself in need of a knife all the time, everywhere you go, especially in wilderness and frontier time frames. So the patch knife, to me, it is basically what we would categorize as a neck knife or EDC today, and it's all around general useful knife. So I've designed two versions. I've got an 8 1/4 inch version, and then I have a 6 1/4 inch version, so 2 inches shorter. I'm gonna make both of them. I started with the 8 1/4 because it more closely represents what I could kind of glean from that TV show, and was inspired by. I didn't copy the blade designs exactly, but I just used it as a general size and shape and overall inspiration. You'll notice if you watch the show, Jamie's patch knife, he has actual holes or Spanish notches in the base of the ricasso here, and that's for like fixing rope and stuff like that. I didn't put them in mine because I don't find them super useful. I'd rather have more blade, because I am going to be using this as my primary hunting knife and skinning knife, and just like a period piece that I like to carry. So, and it's got seems to have bone handles, white bone handles. I'm going to use bone micarta on mine, just to kind of emulate that, but with a more modern material. I've already got it flat ground, taper tang, beveled, and heat treated. So I've kind of skipped over that part for the video. It's really boring anyway. It's like watching paint dry. So the profile obviously is done. So I'm going to pick it up from here. This is not necessarily how-to, just how I am making. And this is it. We're just going to get into it. I'm going to finish this knife, and I'll show the finished knife at the end of the video. So let's go. kind of secret. As much as I like a polish on a stainless knife, on the Damasteel, I much prefer a satin. Aye, it's much more beautiful. So normally with Damasteel, go with a polish and a muriatic acid etch, which gives it kind of a brighter etch appeal. But with this one, since it's somewhat of a period piece, it's period piece inspired, I decided to go with a satin etch, or sorry, a satin finish, and a darker ferric chloride etch, which actually, honestly, with the Damasteel, I don't know why, but I kind of prefer it with a satin finish. There's something about it that's more appealing to me that way. So we're gonna give this a couple dunks in the tank here. Make sure it's good and clean. Good soak. Just make sure that that's etching really evenly. These oxides back a little bit. Yeah, that side looks nice. Very good. Now let's give it a good minute or two to really get good and rich and dark. As you would probably find with most pieces from that period, they were carbon knives, carbon steel, high carbon, whatever, medium carbon. So they're not going to have a lot of shine to them. Like they're going to have a lot of oxidation you would see on a period piece. So they would all appear to be a little darker in color, even if they were well maintained. The carbon steels of the day, with the pretty much constant exposure to moisture and greases and fats and stuff from foods, they're just not going to be very super shiny. Even if the original craftsman shined it up and polished it with stones and got it really nice and bright and shiny, and is well maintained, you're still gonna, the daily use knives, you're gonna get a little more patina and darkness too, so oxidation more or less. So that's what I'm going for, that kind of look for this, but with the Damascus. Yeah, see that Damasteel, when you give it a satin finish and then ferric chloride etch, it tends to more emulate traditional stainless or high carbon Damascus, but it is stainless, which is awesome, and it's Damasteel, which is even more awesome, which is like the best knife steel on the planet. I mean, you didn't get any more premium than Damasteel. Yeah, that's good. Like that. See how deep and rich that is? Let's just do a little bit more. Let me knock some more oxides off of here. And let's just give it a hair more. Let me oxidize it. Neutralize this real quick. Using Windex with ammonia in it. You can neutralize ferric chloride with water as well. Come on. Definitely make sure you got this stuff good and neutralized. Sometimes I'll go to the sink and actually wash it off too. It's pretty easy to neutralize, just gotta make sure you get it good neutralized. Sweet. And so to kind of lock things down and clean out the gooey bits, I will do what I normally do with Damasteel, just not for as long. So typically with Damasteel, once you finish etching it with the muriatic, then you would soak it in WD-40 overnight, and that kind of locks it in, locks the oxides in, locks the color in. But this being a dark etch and period piece, I don't really need to go that crazy, so I'm just going to give it a good dousing with the WD-40 to get all the moisture off, anything corrosive out of the nooks and crannies. Yeah, that's really cool. Nice and dark, really cool looking. Yeah, I like the way that's turning out so far. That's neat. That is neat stuff. Alright, I like this. I like where we're going with that. So it's going to be really neat. Get some handles on this bad boy. So, I'm in the middle of filming for this. I dropped my stinking camera. Really expensive one. Really expensive lens. Toasted. So I'm gonna have to speed some of this up, not get as much detail in some of these shots. So, still working on my patch knife here. It's all glued up, ready to handle shape. I'm gonna get into that now. You're gonna miss most of it. All I'm doing is shaping the handles. It's not rocket science. I'll show the finished product at the end. Maybe try to catch a little bit of B-roll with my phone to get this thing shaped.